One.
Hello, and welcome to the Woman's Cave.
And or writer's class.
Yeah.
I still haven't decided yet.
Y'all know.
We'll see how this goes. It could lean, fun and cool or fun and writer's cool.
Right. So it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. All right. So I'm Dave.
And I will know that we remember to introduce ourselves. High five to ourselves.
I know. Social distance style.
High five to myself.
Woo! But social distance style, y'all, because it's COVID out here.
Oh yeah.
Don't touch people's hands.
Nobody wants to keep hand sanitizing.
No.
Because I gave you a high five. That would be upsetting.
No.
Anyway, we should move on.
We should. Let's talk about our literary life guides with pop poetry, which I guess now, for at least one book, we have to call a poetry anthology, right? Because we were #1 in new releases on Amazon. So, you want to tell us?
Oh, it's The Women's Cave and Other Pop Poems, #1 best-selling poet and poetry anthology book on Amazon.
A Misfit Guide. And then we have If Only I Were Me, a memoir in verse. And I thought divorce was bad with other life. This is what you get for destroying the set. And I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons. And I thought being grown up was easy. And yeah, that's the end of that. Where was our banter today? What happened?
It's just up and walked off. I think it was
and I was almost
it's not. It's because we haven't started happy hour yet.
No, it's because I was thinking about lunch.
Oh my goodness, right? It's gonna be so good.
Because I had cereal at 1:30 because I've been working on new book covers. Yeah, y'all, and I've been up forever working on new book covers, and I've
been up since 5 a.m. for 3 days working on an entirely new book. There's our banter.
Yay, welcome back, banter. But you can find out everything your ladies are doing,
including our new clothing line,
which is the bathing suit that Winona's just gonna have to hold up for some reason. I don't know why. You can find out everything we're doing on www.andwethought.com. But y'all aren't here to hear about us. You're here to hear from our wonderful guest, and I'm a little jealous because she's in sunny Florida.
Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself and then mail us some sunshine and warmth?
All right, I am happy to mail you some sunshine. And I definitely need that swimsuit. So my name is Adele Royce, and I am so thankful you guys would have me on this program. I've watched it so many times and you guys have so much fun. So I live in South Florida. I worked most of my career in Las Vegas. I'm a marketer by trade and worked in the casino industry on the Strip for many, many years. And it sort of gave me the inspiration to write the series that I'm going to talk about, or actually the first book of the series today. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
I have a bunch of questions that have nothing to do with food.
I know, right? But, so first I have to ask, did you get to eat a lot of good food on the Strip?
And then do you get discounts?
Okay, the first question I got and the second question.
Did you get to have, so the food that you got to eat, did you have a nice discount on it?
Well, actually, so this is so scary. When you're at a certain level, they'll give you what they call comp authority. And so basically, and because they want you when you're in marketing to know what kind of food products there are. So when I worked for Caesars Entertainment, for example, I could go and eat in any of the restaurants for free because really I was supposed to be able to write and create ads and tell people how great it was. So there was lots of food, there were lots of drinks, and it was a really nice thing to have. And quite frankly, I miss it.
Well, yeah, you would. I would miss it too. What you saying?
I have to pay for my food now, you guys.
I know, and
that's no fun.
Still be there. I wouldn't even. I'd be like, no, I can't give up my food. That would be the thing.
They stopped paying me in money, and they said don't pay me in food. I just got a second job.
I just gotta show up every day to eat. I show up. Oh my goodness. So how did your background in marketing help you to promote your book? And what is the title of your book?
Okay, so I have a series, and the series is called Truth, Lies, and Love in Advertising. And the book we're going to talk about today is called Camera Ready. And this is the first book of the series. It was released back in September. And what inspired me, or how does marketing help me? As an independent author, it's definitely helped me understand the things that I need to do to get my book out into the world. But there's also, as you both understand, book marketing is very specific. It's not like marketing, a casino or a show or a restaurant. It's very, very specific. So there was a lot of stuff I had to learn. One of the things that my experience in the industry really helped me with was creating this series, because I kind of followed the John Grisham model of write what you know. And so because I worked both on the advertising agency side as well as the client side, I really understand what goes on behind the conference room door. And I think a lot of my readers get a huge kick out of that because they, whether they worked in the industry or not, they're sort of like, oh, that's what goes on, or that's what happens. And, you know, so I don't have to do a whole lot of research on that side of it. But there's a lot of research that goes into these books because, as you know, when you write anything, you run up against something like, oh, you know, you just some random thing like, where is this park, and could you get there from here? And so there's all these things that you know, you looked at my my search engine, my cache, you'd find all these weird things and think I was probably a crazy maniac. But anyway, so so this book is actually the second book that I wrote in the series. I released this one first because I felt that it was sort of kind of like the Star Wars model, where book 2, the sequel, and then the prequel. So the sequel to this book is called For Position Only, and it will be out in January 1st. And then I have the prequel coming out in summer of 2021. But we're going to talk about this book today. It's called Camera Ready. I'll give you my elevator pitch. It is Camera Ready offers a compelling version of a love triangle at its center. A young advertising executive's secure world topples over when a dangerous old flame re-enters her life. So you can kind of get an idea of the genre. It's technically women's fiction, which isn't my favorite term because there's no such thing as men's fiction. But women's fiction is where it sort of falls, and that's where how it's shelved. It also crosses over into romantic comedy. All 3 books have a comedic thread that runs through it. And then there's actually a category, believe it or not, called workplace romance. I'm not kidding you. And so those are sort of the 3 categories that this book falls in. And I want to just say a little bit about the writing process, because when I write books, I know some people really heavily outline and plot every chapter, and they know all the details. They know everything that's going to happen before they start the actual writing. And I'm more of a pantser. I write by the seat of my pants, and I know the plot premises, and I know how it's going to end. But everything that happens in the writing process, kind of, there are things that could change the course of the story because I'm writing and my wheels are turning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have, you know, this is, the characters are going off and doing something I didn't intend for them to do. And it's such a great idea. I keep it in the story, and it might even change the way things turn out even. So I like to leave
it all.
It does.
Yeah, it happens to us all. The characters take over and you're like, what happened?
And isn't that so cool? And you're like, you're following them, and then what you end up with is a scene that's like so amazing. So the protagonist in this book, her name is Jane Mercer. She's 28. She works at the fictitious ad agency, Warren Mitchell and Partners. She is vice president accounts. She's engaged to be married. I think at the onset, she's just living with this guy, and she's got a really calm life, but she has this sort of tendency toward risky behavior. She makes a lot of mistakes, but how much fun is it to read a woman who's flawed and who misbehaves? I mean, how boring would it be if we didn't write about that? As women, I would rather read somebody I could relate to. And Jane Mercer is definitely relatable. You'd think that the main character, the other main character in the novel, besides Jane, the protagonist, would be maybe her boyfriend, Derek, but it's not. It's the antagonist, who I've created this incredibly horrible villain. I mean, he's a very polarizing guy. I mean, anybody who's read the book either falls in love with him, hates his guts, or just like is ambivalent toward him. But his name is Craig Axel Keller. And I named him that because I wanted Axe Killer to be sort of part of his name. Not that he kills people with an axe, but that he's sort of a killer in every other way. He's really gorgeous and smart. And he owns the ad agency that is the rival agency of Jane's. And she had a fling with him in the past, and she is weak to him. He is like a drug that she runs right into him in chapter 1. And all these horrible memories come back to her. And I wrote him to be irresistible because I wanted the reader to believe that she could be weak to this guy's machinations, and she is. And I describe him as a sadistic, cruel, Machiavellian businessman, a womanizer, and a cutthroat powermonger. Craig is the ultimate villain because he looks like a gorgeous cake topped with the most delicious icing, but the cake itself is rotten. So that's the conflict of the novel, pretty much. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's a subplot that's very intricate that you don't find out about until the end. But I always try to end my books on a happy note, even though there's a sequel where things are going to get crazy again. But that's kind of it in the book, and it's available on Amazon or everywhere. You can also go to my website, adeleroyce.com, and all the channels to buy the book are there if you're interested. And always reach out to me because I love to hear from my readers. I really do. So,
wow. I know that something that you did not mention, but we just happen to know, is that you're also involved in a writers group as well, correct?
I am the director of PR for South Florida Writers Association, and they have helped me tremendously and that's why I volunteer on the board, because when I first started writing these novels, I mean, as you know, you can be a writer your whole life and not know the craft of writing a novel. And so that organization offered critique groups, and I actually joined them because I wanted the critique group, and oh my goodness, they were incredible in teaching me how to write a novel, just the whole plot arc, understanding how to develop characters, everything. So I'm indebted actually to that association because they were so good to me.
Well, it feels like a lot of authors, they always are talking about their writers group, and that how if they didn't have their writers group, they probably
wouldn't have a book.
Couldn't have a book, that they'd still be working on it. So it seems like that is exactly what happened to you.
Now, quickly before we wrap this up, which we should probably be wrapping up now, but I have to ask, I'm looking at the nod to Mad Men behind you.
Yes.
How cool is that? And did they get anything right about the advertising?
It's so amazing. That show is, it's one of my favorites. My favorite period of time is the 60s. I love it, but they got every detail right. And you know what's so interesting about it is having worked in that industry, you see the little subtle nuances that they included, and they may not, some of them, obviously with technology have advanced, but so much of that show nails the details of the relationships between the clients and the account people and the creatives and all that. It's like they got it right, like nailed it. So wow. Yeah.
Okay, so now I have to rewatch Mad Men.
Right. Rewatch it. It's good.
Finished it. Like I've only done like a season or two, and that's been recent because in the house, right? COVID.
You know what? Watch it just so you can see John Hamm in action. He's a little celebrity crush.
Okay, so now we know when she's a really famous author who she'll be meeting. No. All right, so where can you find out more about you again and pick up your books?
Yeah, just pop on to adeleroyce.com, and or you can just go right onto Amazon and search me and search my book, Camera Ready, and know that nobody in this book is camera ready.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and
thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's been so fun. I guess
thank you so much. You guys are great. Appreciate it.
You can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the homepage. I'm pausing for one moment.
Yes, thank you. So you can see the Ladies Tale podcast. We're professional actors.
You can see it, but you can hear it.
You can hear it. You can see the little emblem that says Ladies Tale.
Okay, right, true that. All right, but more importantly than all of that, please take a moment, go to the Ladies tab, go to the middle, and see the charities that we proudly support. Maybe you can support them too, even if it's just adding them on social media and saying thank you for doing this wonderful work in the world. We appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance for that. And remember, y'all, that wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.